is Brandon. I'm so excited to be here because I love Hallmark Christmas movies.
It's a lot.
Hey, this is Brian, and I'm also so excited to be here, and I like those Hallmark Christmas movies.
Hey, it's Dan, and I'm so excited to be here because I despise those Hallmark Christmas movies.
And this is the Deck the Hallmark podcast.
Deck the Hallmark, it's his podcast.
Brandon and friends host this podcast.
We hope you like this jolly podcast.
All right, haters.
Oh.
We haven't
Haters in the building.
we haven't sung in days.
No, yeah. We don't sing around the office ever.
They're not pretty. When was the last time we sang on the show?
Years.
It was
like years. Yeah. Probably weeks.
Oh, it was Entertaining Angels, Newsboys last week.
Yeah, I believe so. Lighthouse
When we had
7.
the singer?
Lighthouse 7.
You wait for me.
You
No
know,
Chaser?
Yeah,
Professional
Straight,
singer?
we did sing in front of the Straight No Chaser guy.
Yeah.
Is he the bass?
I don't know.
Steve?
I was listening to a Straight No Chaser song.
Yeah.
And
They're good.
he sounds
Sure are.
like he might be the bass.
We should have gone over that with him.
Should have asked him.
Can I
maybe.
ask you just, and this is, I'm sorry if this is too personal. Would you say that you are all about the bass, or is there any?
No treble.
Awfully personal.
You don't want any room.
No treble.
You're all about that bass.
No treble.
He answered without delay.
Well, I have
So
said
that was-
this about you for years. You are bringing booty back. Hi, everybody.
You sure
It
What
is
is happening?
Friday.
This
It
is
is
Thanksgiving
Anyway,
week.
haters.
Double-
This is the first or second of the double header.
Double
So
Friday.
Depending on which way you
Pretend
listen
know
to this.
how you listen.
There's
don't
no
wanna
way that
even-
people are realistically listening to 4 episodes in 2 days, right? Like this is
do, let us
impossible.
know,
We
because-
should have spread
Yeah.
this out more,
That's
but
decky-worthy.
we're locked.
Yeah.
We're locked and loaded
Locked
at this
and
point.
loaded, yeah.
We are definitely that.
Here's the good news, everybody. If
Some
you
of
had
us more
to,
locked, some of us more loaded.
if you head to philo.tv/DTH, you can watch all of these episodes, the movies that we're talking about, and check out the Holiday Movie Hub that they have showcasing a ton of amazing Christmas movies that you can
Yeah.
watch just at the click of a button. Philo is incredible all year long, but at Christmas, Philo really shines.
They do. And we're also giddy because
Yep.
tomorrow, Brand,
Whoa!
Big day.
Poinsettia Parade. Right here in, that Greenville.
But crossing our fingers for good weather.
Sure
Yeah.
are.
The forecast kind of keeps ebbing and flowing, doing a little this and that.
Yeah.
But check us out at Hallmark Podcast on the social media for all the information about that. We'll be live streaming this sucker on our YouTube channel, perhaps some other social media platforms. Who can say?
Who
Blue
can
Sky?
say?
We're going to be on the Blue
Blue,
Sky?
the Blue Ski?
The Blue Ski.
Throw me a Blue
I don't know.
Ski.
Can you live stream on
I
Blue
don't
Ski?
think you can live stream on the Blue Ski.
Yeah.
Man.
No.
Next year.
Maybe next year.
We are, Deck the Hallmark's on Blue Ski. I mean,
We are
we're
on
there.
Blue Ski. Our handle at Blue Ski is at Hallmark Podcast.
Yes, it is. Look us up. Follow us. We won't know.
Ski us.
We won't.
shout.
Ski us.
Space
Dude,
Masters. I don't know what you do.
Did you see what we just skied? It was an amazing post.
Just
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
You got to check us out on the Blue
Ski
Ski.
of the year.
Ski of the Year.
do some tracks.
Speaking of Ski of the Year, let's go skiing.
Sure.
Oh, man. What a transition.
Head out to Utah?
We're pros.
On out to a season 4 family.
Lighthouse 7.
It originally aired on November 22nd, 2023, and it went a little something like this. Maddie works at a hotel, but the kind of hotel where the workers wear a uniform, not just nice clothes. Looking at you, Red Roof Inn. She doesn't
How
typically.
dare you,
I'm
first of
sorry.
all.
Yeah.
Conjoining room.
Are you doing any events at the Red Roof during the holiday season, Rick?
We have Maze Fest.
Maze?
Maze Fest.
Like Billy Mays?
Billy
Billy
the
Mays
cocaine
Hayes?
guy.
No.
Rest in peace, obviously.
Obviously.
yeah.
What is Maze Fest?
Shame wow. No, that's not him. It's ice cream.
No.
That is a cocaine.
No, everybody brings their best maze.
Maze?
You got
Like
me.
you get
Corn?
lost in the maze?
Do you speak English?
Like corn?
Corn
it
maze?
could be a corn maze. Yeah, if you bring.
So, like,
that.
what do you mean you bring your own maze?
Everybody brings their own maze, and we all try them out.
What type of maze are you
Me
bringing?
personally?
Yes.
Jello pudding. I've constructed walls and I fill them with pudding.
That's what I needed to know. I was still a little bit. So it's a maze
Good luck
built out
there.
of pudding.
If you get to strawberry, you've gone too far.
Fair enough. Thank you, Wrigley.
You're
And when
welcome.
is that?
That's next weekend
At the Red Roof.
at the Red Roof Inn. Conjoining rooms, yes.
No uniforms.
No maze too big, no maze too small.
No maze too big.
That's right.
All right. We're going to push that to the limit, I'm sure. Anywho, she doesn't typically take time off during the holidays, but she is this year. Her and her son, Wesley, are heading off to stay with her family for Christmas. There's a reason for it. That reason is her son is adopted.
Correct.
And she has found out that her adopted son has a brother, and the brother just so happens to be from the same town that her parents are from. That's nice. Get to stay with your parents, celebrate Christmas, and also maybe find a brother. So Wesley, he's been working on this family Christmas, a Christmas family tree. It's nothing to do with Christmas. It's a family tree project.
That's a different movie.
Yes.
Amy Teagarden,
Yeah.
Andrew
Yes.
Walker.
Yes, Christmas,
Yes.
My family Christmas tree.
Yes.
This my Christmas family tree. They head to a ski shop and snag some gear and meet a hunky store owner named Paul. He's showing them boots and is pumped to hear that Maddie is a single mom. Literally says, quote unquote, "That's great." She leaves and he's rushing to catch his son's talent show. He's a single dad who's just trying his best. Maddie takes Wesley to ski class the next day and meets Paul's sister and Paul's son, Cody. They're in class together. They become fast friends. This is a big deal because Cody hasn't really made friends since his mom passed away. Maddie and Paul bond over some nerdy sci-fi author. I don't know, man. It could have been real, could have been fake. I don't know. Don't care. But then they realize something. Their boys are brothers. Apparently, both Wesley and Cody are adopted. They're birth brothers. And they also are now best friends, but they
You
don't.
don't have to say birth brothers. We just say brothers there.
But they are birth brothers.
They are birth brothers.
It's not wrong.
Like, we're cream bros. If we just said we were brothers, people would be confused because they would immediately think birth brothers.
birth brothers, yeah.
That's why we say cream
Maybe that's
in
why
front
he
of it.
says birth brothers, because he's
Yeah, I
thinking,
assume
like,
people are thinking cream
bros.
Cream
Yeah.
bros. To make
Things
this
are going great.
To make this more complicated, Paul hasn't told Cody that he's adopted. Despite his best effort to have them not hang out, it just kind of keeps happening, mainly because he keeps letting it happen any opportunity, including decorating a Christmas tree together as one big family, but again, not a family. They don't even know it yet. His business is struggling, so he pitches Maggie's dad, who owns a big hotel in town, one that you don't have to wear a uniform for, but still a nice hotel, to partner with him. He agrees on a trial run, and Maggie helps to make sure what I say.
Maggie.
Just Maggie. Maggie helps to make sure that this goes smoothly. They keep hanging out, bowling, shopping, the works. He goes in for a kiss, and she's like, "I feel weird kissing, knowing what I know that you know that your son doesn't know." And he's like, "You're right, you're right." So that night, Paul and Cody talk about adoption, just like in general. Like, what do you think about that? And he fumbles this opportunity by not coming clean. He is really feeling the pressure. Then Maddie's dad asks if she can move home to become the GM at the hotel. And she's like, "There's a lot to think through here." So when she tells Paul about the potential job, he's like, "This is too much, too fast. You and this and love and all that." When faced with all the possible options, he decides the best course of action would be to sell the store and move far away from everybody that he knows. But he decides to finally stop running and tell Cody. And Cody is like, "I knew that I was adopted. I have ears." So they go over to Maddie's for dinner, and he tells her that he wants her to stay. They kiss long ones, and then they sit the boys down to let them know that they are birth bros. And they're pumped, and they hug. And that, my friends, was a season 4 family.
God,
We're going to take a quick break.
We are just a mess today.
No, I don't think so.
I think so.
Brian, take us to break.
We'll be right back here on Deck
Back
the
to
Hallmark.
Well, hello.
Do you have pink eye, but in your chest?
It just kind of keeps popping up occasionally.
Different spots?
Yeah.
Different spots.
Man.
Traveling
Pink eye of the
eye.
throat.
That's right.
Pink throat.
Once again.
I don't think
Here's the good news, everybody.
Medical term
We're just three non-birth bros hanging out,
That's all.
talking about Hallmark movies. Today we're talking about a season for family.
Family.
Let's break it down with 4 segments. Let's start with the hot take.
I'll
Brian?
take it from here, Brand.
Go ahead.
I'll take my time too, Brand. So you just relax there for a second. This might be an unpopular opinion. I feel like I'm going to get a little bit of pushback today just from the random light conversation around the office. I really like this movie. I'm a big Brandon Penny fan.
And by Brandon Penny, you mean Brendan's brother, who is not on screen at all?
Brandon Penny.
There's the one.
Yeah, I say Brandon.
You said Brandon
Well,
Penny.
Brandon Penny. It's all Brandon. It's hard to really emphasize.
Yeah,
when you
man.
It's hard to learn people's
It's all the
names.
same.
breeze through the letters. Brandon Penny.
Brandon.
I think I
don't
might have
care.
a new favorite, Stacey Farber, who played Maddie. I don't remember seeing her in anything before.
She's this year's Sarah Ramos.
Yeah, I think so. Step aside, Sarah. I'm sorry, but she was great, and the two of them together, I really liked them a lot. This definitely had some problems. Kind of, I guess, a bit of a controversial topic, you could say. When to tell your adopted children when they're adopted. Some people do it sooner than others. I guess there's some strong opinions on that. But the guy, in his defense, I think he wasn't. He's a mess. This guy's a mess.
In his
In
defense,
his defense, he's a mess. Yeah, he's a real mess. He's
That's my defense as well.
I'm a mess.
so when you treat others poorly,
No, it's
you
not
say,
excusing it. I'm just
in
saying
my
there's-
defense, I'm a mess.
I'm a mess right now. The guy,
I
think,
would be better to you, but I'm bad to myself. I can't possibly.
right. If you think I'm bad to you,
be
you should
bad
hear
to-
what's going
like,
on.
Listen,
in
I'm,
here.
It's
I'm
a
an
mess
utter
up
disaster.
here.
Yeah. So he needs help, professional help. I don't like that they ended saying, "I love you, we're great, everything's great." I'm psyched those kids get to be brothers, birth brothers.
Not just-
Finally reunited, not just brothers, but
birth brothers. That's right.
So the whole time I was dying for those kids to know that they were brothers. I'm glad that happened. This guy needs some serious help. They should not be starting a
And you
relationship.
loved it. And I think that's what's important.
I seriously really, really like this movie.
Yeah.
It works.
This happens every time Brendan Penny has a movie.
The guy.
You go, I
he's-
actually really like this.
Yeah, I really did. And I just Stacey Farber stole the show for me.
She's in the Butler movie,
Which one was that?
Butler's in Love.
Okay, all right,
Yeah.
good.
Before your time.
But it was-
before
that
your
was
time.
When
pre-
Panda was going to do
the
it, become
Panda
a
era.
butler.
That's when and he never
Yes,
did. And look,
correct.
where is he now?
Yeah.
Look what happens.
He's not butlering, that's for sure.
No, definitely not. So yeah,
Didn't
for
go
me,
to school.
I like this one.
Top 3 favorite brothers. Ready? Cream Brothers, Birth Brothers.
Birth Brothers second.
No, I'm throwing them out there. You
Okay,
can put
yeah,
them.
Oh,
yeah.
you put him in the order?
Yeah.
Then
Mario
Bash,
Brothers.
Then, okay, Mario Brothers, Bash Brothers.
Ooh, I'm gonna go Mario Brothers in a close one.
As number 1.
As one?
But which Bash Brothers are you talking about? You talking about Mark McGuire, Jose Canseco, or are you talking about Portman and Felder?
Portman and Felder.
Is it Portman and Felder?
It's
Fulton.
Fulton.
Portman and Fulton.
Yes.
Yeah, those are the best Bash Brothers.
Those are
You're
the
right.
best.
Even
Okay.
though I didn't know their names.
The Brooks Brothers. That's another good
Ooh.
one.
yeah.
I'm still Cream Brothers is obviously the best brother.
I'm kind of with Brian. Listen, you have to excuse some stuff in this movie. The way that they handle this situation is I hate it because I know that it happens. Like, I know that this isn't a story that has not happened to a lot of kids out there. Like, unfortunately, it is. And so it's like a sad story, but yeah, I love Brendan Penny.
Yeah.
I love the Butler. And so, like, it's tough. This isn't going to be towards the top of my list, and I would be okay not watching it. Again, probably somewhere in the middle, lower part of middle would be my guess. I just wish it was handled a bit better. That's all. That would have helped this movie a good bit. But what can you do? Here we are. Bash Brothers number 1. Dan?
Yeah, I think the idea of this movie is a sweet idea.
Oh, the Jonas Brothers. That
Yeah,
guy.
there's a lot of good brothers out there. The idea of this movie is a sweet idea. Having brothers who didn't know
Birth
that they
brothers.
were birth brothers, like reunite or unite for the first time. I think that's wonderful. I think, anytime you deal with an adoption storyline and you have the parents that doesn't tell their kid they're adopted, there are a million reasons to not tell your kid they're adopted, and almost all of them are selfish. And I know that I'm not in everyone's situation, and I know that someone out there listening right now did this, and I'm not trying to demean them at all. I think it's really hard as adoptive parents because you're very
Which you are
vulnerable.
one.
I am one, yes. And I think you're vulnerable. You're vulnerable because you know that your love for your kid is unconditional and their love doesn't have to be unconditional. It doesn't matter what my kid does. He can decide when he grows up that, like, since I'm not his biological father, that I'm not his father. And you know what? I'll still love him to the end of the earth. And I think that's like a wound. Like it literally is like anyone knows how to hurt you your whole life when you're an adoptive parent. Anybody knows how to hurt you, exactly how to hurt you, and they know how to hurt your kid. And so it's vulnerable. And so there's a lot of ways to deal with that vulnerability. And one is to just act like it's not true, act like it's not a thing. And the problem is that you should never be the arbiter of someone else's identity, because that's what they have. That's who they are. My kids are not Thompsons first. They're their own identity first, and keeping that from them would be wrong. What I will say about this movie is it gets so out of hand that I believe this movie is the movie's not good. It's not one of my favorites. I do think that the leads are good. The lie becomes so big in this movie that it becomes a cautionary tale on what happens when you think you're just going to withhold this information from your kid. He and his wife, who is now deceased, start off with very dear intentions, which is, we're going to tell him when he's 10 years old. Wife dies. Brendan Penny's stuck in Arrested Development. He doesn't know what to do. He just is trying to control. He's trying to batten down the hatches. He's trying not to be vulnerable. All that's really good stuff. But that lie that he thinks is small and inconsequential, it takes over the entire cultural ecosystem of he and his kid. His sister now has the lie. His best friend now has the lie. This kid's biological brother now can't know he's his brother. This woman who's this, like, also everyone is brought into this vortex of this lie. And so it's absurd to watch in a Hallmark movie. I was like, how is this happening and why are we pulling for this guy? But in real life, it's a cautionary tale of what happens when you start off with good intentions of, like, I just don't want to do this now. And what happens is it becomes like Gollum in the Ring, where you just perseverate on, we can't let them know because then it would ruin everything. Well,
It's the same movie I thought of when watching this movie.
Yeah, Lord of the Rings. It's very
It's
similar.
immediate
So
like
it's
comparison.
6 to 1, half dozen of
Easy.
the other. And so on that front, it's not a bad resource for adoptive parents, because you can look and actually see realistically what would happen if you decided to put yourself as a parent first in this regard over telling your kid his or her true identity. And I think that aspect of it, by the end, actually does work. Along the way, some cringeworthy moments, but it wasn't boring. I would say it's going to end up somewhere in the middle for me.
Baldwin Brothers, Property Brothers.
Yeah.
Some more good options there.
Yeah.
It's time for all the feels as we talk about what gave us feels while we were watching this movie. Brian.
Yeah. There were a couple things for me. One, Christmas sweaters were fully on point. Like, everybody rocked an awesome sweater at one point.
That's all that's Christmassy about this movie, though.
There's not a lot of
This is
Christmas.
not.
You're right.
This
Another
is,
one.
Yeah.
This is a real.
In the Christmas department.
You put that thumbs
Right
down right
in
over
front of my
Brian's
face,
face.
yeah. We're gonna need that graphic for later in the season, I'm sure. I feel like that could be used against me
Almost
as well.
covered his whole nose.
Oh, no, good luck. Where's that straw?
Just can't.
But the big one, there was a version of not Baby, but Please Come Home for. I think it was Please Come Home for Christmas.
I need to know who it was.
Same.
I was
Couldn't
watching on my
Shazam?
phone and I couldn't Shazam it.
Me either. And I tried to look at the credits after the movie, and they fly through them
It
so
was
fast.
my favorite cover
It was amazing.
of that song.
Amazing.
So good.
And it went on for a very long time. It was
I
so
loved every
great.
second of it.
Yeah.
Do you not remember this, Brand?
I don't remember this.
The most Christmassy part of the movie.
Oh,
No
it's the
questions
best.
asked. was
It
great.
the best.
No questions asked.
None.
None.
No
Don't you
follow-ups.
ask one.
Don't dare.
No.
So that was phenomenal.
No
and
trouble.
that I just all about that bass. There was no bass in that one.
There
either.
wasn't,
So we got to figure that out.
Yeah, we
Get
got to
the-
figure
So
that
it's almost
out.
what
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Hallmark.
Like
can we
how
get
to
a
add
little-
bass to it?
That's right.
We could try to figure out how to add bass, but first we got to figure out what
The song.
what
You can't.
song. Yeah,
Can't add
I
bass
feel like
if you
one
don't
of
know
the
the
members
song.
of NSYNC was in it. I can't remember. It
The other
wasn't
one.
Argoletta. You know.
It wasn't Lance, Joey, JC, Justin. It was the other one.
It was the other guy.
That's right.
He might have
Yeah,
been
yeah,
part
yeah.
of it.
Yeah.
So.
Lance and the other one. That's right.
Oh no.
You have any feels, Brand?
I don't have a ton of feels in this movie. Like obviously frustrated feels. I will say like I weirdly enough I really enjoyed. This is gonna sound like a real Brian moment.
Come on.
I really enjoyed learning about the
adoption.
different colors of wax.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that was pretty good. Yeah.
Different colors
Embarrassing.
wax
Yep.
That's embarrassing.
for different types of snow.
Oh, yeah. You get your
Didn't know
powder,
it.
Yeah.
Now I know it, and wouldn't you snow it? Because of snow and the skis?
Yeah.
Just you guys can skip
Snowplow
this
it.
episode if you're listening right now.
There's another one out.
Yeah,
There's
we'll
another one out
There's
right
another
now.
one today.
The
This
next
is a
one will be
mulligan.
better.
It's a
Another one out.
mulligan. And if you already listened to that one, just turn this one off. You've done your due diligence.
Yeah,
for
yeah.
it.
We don't need to
Dan?
go any further.
Yeah, the scene where he tells his kid that he's adopted is an incredibly well acted scene. Is it realistic to how that would go? I don't know. Every kid's different. But the kid just jumping in and doing the work for the dad seemed like a freebie. Seemed like Brendan Penny really needed that at that moment. We can talk about that in the Wait What if you want. But Brendan Penny's response is, you know, as bad as this movie treated that situation, like, you know, you never tire of your kid telling you that you're his dad. And I think you see that in Brendan Penny's face and in his reaction. And I thought that was really beautiful. So there you go.
Let's take a quick break. We'll come back with the what the Hallmark here on Deck the Hallmarks. That's good. That was worth
good
the saving the
stuff. Yeah,
show.
print that.
I hope people didn't leave too soon.
No.
Hi. Welcome back, everybody. We're talking about a family seasonal. A
Seasonal. A season for
family
family. even.
season-seasonal?
No bass in that
season
one.
for Christmas.
No, not at all.
Trouble.
Let's do this.
Yeah.
Let's get to the Wait What.
Family seasonal. We did it.
Brian, what you got? Any Wait What's in this movie?
A few little things. When all the family was together after dinner, they had a little family sing along, and they sang "We Wish You a Merry Christmas," and they could not have been like more offbeat with each other. The music was either way behind or way ahead at any point during the song.
Yeah.
It was really hard to listen to, and actually pretty amazing that they got through it, because I would just have to stop. I don't know how you sing through that. Just an overall like frustration with Paul. Like, he has absolutely no hustle. Like, I know he's going through a tough time. He's a mess. He's got just.
He's a disaster, and that's why
He's a wreck right
Yes,
now. So
yes.
cut him some slack. I know,
course.
but also like you got to have a little hustle. Like, obviously your shop is a failure. You got to
Do you
close.
think Brian ever comes home and be like, these guys don't have any hustle? They just sat around and
Let's
they
get no
ate
hustle.
wings
Like-
and they watch reality TV. They have
Not
no
once.
hustle.
Not
I mean,
once.
he's not wrong. Like our goal in life is to figure out
How to make enough money just to eat wings on Wednesday.
with the least amount of hustle.
That's right. Yeah,
That's
yeah, yeah.
the hustle.
Could we hustle less?
Could we? The hustle is to figure out how to make more by hustling less.
That's right.
Isn't that
Yeah.
the American dream?
That's the American dream.
It's a magic trick that
Yeah.
you guys perform daily.
Yeah.
No, I don't think that about you guys. But for him,
That was convincing.
yeah, a couple big thumbs up. For him, like, obviously his store is a failure. Like, why are you trying to keep your store open when
Oh my
there's
gosh.
there's obviously this
Just
other way
tough
to go?
talk with Bri today.
This is a no-brainer. You close the doors, you put all your stuff in a storage facility, and you just do mobile ski repair and fitting and things like that. Like, it's such a no-brainer, and you save so much money. Just go do that. Like, no, it didn't even occur to
Can
him.
you say his store's a failure one more time?
It didn't even occur to him
There's
that,
no
that
hustle.
he's failed. His wife is dead. Okay.
Wow.
His store is a failure. He's a mess. Like, he's just got to make some big changes, and he's not even like thinking about it. And then 100% of the like all the work that he has to do can be done remote. He doesn't need this place.
You
And
still
there's just
talking about this?
no other resort. You're in a resort town, and not once did he mention like offering his services to another hotel. Like, there's no discussion about like, hey, maybe we should check out another hotel and see if they need some ski services.
No hustle.
No hustle. No hustle.
It was
This
kind of
guy.
frustrating. And the ski services, they seem to go hand in hand, like with offering things to guests. Like, you offer lots of stuff to guests. For the hotel, there's no downside to doing
Zero.
this. So what is this guy like? The dad is like up in the air on. He's like, I don't know
The
about
crisis
this.
of him wanting to bring the new GM in on it
the
is
GM's
like,
gonna be like, why didn't you do this months ago?
he should have just been like started, and then if the GM comes in and doesn't like it, then the GM can get rid of it.
I kept thinking about that. I'm like, speaking of you guys not hustling, this is a good example of you hustling. You would just do it, and then if somebody came in and you hired a GM, whatever reason, they would change it. Like, you just make the decision. Like, you're supposed to be running the business. This is a very silly thing, but it bugged me to no end. The guy, they say that all the dad can make is chili. It's the only thing he can cook.
over and over again.
If you can make chili, you can make anything. Like, in
If you
chili,
can make it here, you can make it anywhere.
you're chopping stuff up.
Dodge a wrench.
What you do in every single recipe. You're cooking the meat or whatever is going in it. You do that in every other recipe. Like, all recipes are measure this, cut that, heat this. That's it. And that's what he's doing. Like, he can make anything. I don't know if he knows this. This guy.
No
maybe-
hustle.
He's got no
he's got no
hustle in
hustle.
the kitchen. He's
None.
got to get it
He's got
together.
no kitchen hustle.
And so, yeah, those are some things that just bugged me.
He loves it.
I
loved
did.
it.
I
Big
really
fan.
did like this movie a whole lot.
Maddie comes into her parents' house and she leans down on her knees and says, "Merry Christmas," like she's talking to a baby. What was that about? What a weird way to greet you.
I don't remember that, but that sounds weird.
So they're setting up this ski display.
Oh yeah, got you. Cool.
And it's up against a wall and blah, blah, blah. And Brendan Penny says, we got to make it really good. It's going to be the first thing that people see when they come in, which is just factually incorrect. The door's right next to it. The door opens up against it. We know that because it knocked the display down. It would probably be the last thing people see when they close the door and they finally see it after scanning the rest of the store. It will not be the first. You should put it somewhere else. Buy it. No hustle though. So,
That's what I'm saying. It's not hustle. Like,
no
come on.
hustle.
at the
Wonder his
talent
store's a
show,
failure.
they went above and beyond. They put the keyboard on these wheels. They wheel it out. Like, someone put a lot of work there. Just plug it in. Just plug it in. If you're going to do the work of putting a keyboard on wheels, plug the darn thing in. We can see it. There's nothing plugged. Isn't peanut butter outlawed everywhere where kids are now? Like, these kids are reckless with
They're
their
going
peanut butter.
ham.
I was so worried about Brian.
Thank
These
you.
kids are dueling weapons. They're just out there slapping people with their peanut butter sandwiches. There was a Christmas tree lot, and all the trees on the lot had lights on them
did.
already.
Yeah.
An interesting move. Seems like a
It's
lot
a
of
move.
extra work. But that's the hustle that you're looking for.
That's
That
what
is
I'm
the
talking
hustle
about.
you're looking for.
Out there hustling.
True.
And then there's a scene towards the end of the movie where her kid is just sitting on the front stoop, just like alone with his thoughts, looking at the mountains. And I'm like, well, that kid doesn't exist, right? There's not an 8-year-old boy who's like, you know what I want to do right now?
Oh, yeah.
Just kind of sit with my thoughts,
No.
look out there at the mountains.
You don't know all 8-year-olds.
I don't know all 8-year-olds.
Could happen.
It could happen.
Doubt it.
I know. Our kids.
Oh no.
None of our kids are spending quiet time just like, man, let me just think about my day as they look at the mountains. Beautiful mountains, though. I
Unless
will
they're
say.
up to something. And
Unless they're up to no
trying
good. Unless they're figuring out a way.
That's
to-
right.
They're hustling.
scheming.
Unless they're hustling.
hustling.
That's
They're
right.
hustling.
It's the
Dano?
hustle.
Is Hallmark not allowed to show regular bowling? Is it something like I've seen 3 mini bowling scenes?
Candlepin.
And-
Candlestick. Is it
and-
candlestick?
yeah.
Stin?
And okay, whatever you call it,
Candlepin.
why aren't they showing full size bowling?
Isn't that big out there in the West?
You keep
It's the
saying
type
the
that-
name of it, and that's great.
I think it's a bigger type
It's
of style.
candle
it's
pin.
Candlepin.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it doesn't exist. What I'm saying
They
is
keep
that
showing it, yeah.
why have we not seen a single actual bowling scene in the last,
It's
this
still
season?
bowling.
And we've seen baby bowling, tiny
not-
candlepin
I
bowling.
mean, hey.
only bowling until college.
Really?
A lot of lanes have the candle pins, yeah.
It's also called duck pin bowling, from what I understand from Lisa.
That sounds
in the
made
chat.
up.
Yeah, because candle pin sounds above board. I don't like. I'm trusting all of you guys. I've never
why
been. I've never
candle
heard of
pin?
it. Like, it just seemed like we've seen a lot of that and no actual full size
ball.
bowling. The
Yeah.
real bowling. The lead in this movie, she comes to town. She starts hanging out with Brendan Penny, and 3 different people tell her, "You must like him because I've not heard you laugh like that in a while." Great line. She barely is laughing. Barely. Like, it's not like she's like, she looks like maybe a few courtesy laughs. Like, it's not like you get to see her super serious and then all of a sudden she's just yucking it up. For them to point out something as specific as laughing, it would have to be a pretty iconic laughter that they were used to hearing from her as a child. And that's just not what happens in this movie. She doesn't make that laughter anything special. You covered the boutique skiing situation, like ski concierge thing. Well, I was just shocked at how fast this was turning. Like, it was constantly like, well, I've been trying to call these people for forever. And all of a sudden, he talks to them like while they're outside and he's like, why don't we start it tomorrow?
Yeah.
And then he goes and he does it tomorrow and he's like, well, why don't we shut it down? And it just was like so contrived to make the plot of this movie work for her to get this job or whatever. And then I know I do a lot of things while I'm on hold with someone where I tell them I'm about to accept a job and move across country. And it's a very big conversation. I don't feel like I'm looking at my kids' crafts. I don't feel like I'm breaking out the letter to Santa and going through all of that in that sentimental moment. But thank goodness he did, or he'd be,
Imagine if he didn't. Whew.
different world from here.
Still be trying to get that store to
There you
work.
go.
Shout out to Plasma Boy, who apparently used to sit outside
See?
and say,
Exactly.
quote,
You thought you
I'm
knew
thinking my
everybody.
thoughts. I don't. I wish that I was that way. I wish that me as an adult just sat on a stoop and
Yeah.
I could spend more time just sitting in my thoughts.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think we
We
all
all
could.
could, yeah.
I think we all could.
Let's do that right now. You can't even.
I'm a funny thinker. Let's get to what the Hallmark is where we wonder what could have been. Maybe have a guess. Brian, what are you still wondering about, buddy?
So, do we know how far apart these brothers are in age?
2 years?
Okay.
10 and 8?
Yeah, that's what I figured. Something like that.
Yeah.
I just couldn't stop thinking about their birth mother. Like, what scenario? What happened here that two boys, 2 kids within 2 years? Like, is she just like the most giving lady in the world where she's like, I'll carry your baby for different people and just keeps doing like.
I mean, it was probably just a hard
No,
situation.
I would
No,
assume,
this was child services.
Yeah.
So giving up for
this is not a
adoption.
private adoption. They
Yeah.
very specifically say child services, so it wouldn't have
It was
worked
not
like
a
that.
good situation, no.
The thing that was interesting to me is almost always child services wants to pair siblings together. So the fact that they never called, I think the older one is the one with Stacy, right? So they never called her to say, we have Wesley's brother. That was weird to me because in working with child services for several years, they are very big on pairing siblings together as often as they can above almost everything else. It would be a tiebreaker at the very least.
Yeah.
So the fact that she didn't know was wild to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, the situation regarding the birth mother could be myriad things. Could be so many things because it's child services.
If she had already moved out of state, would they try that? Or does that get
clearly
does that get
they were
more
both
complicated?
adopted from the same city.
Yeah. I'm saying
Yes.
she
Yes.
got him moved.
Yeah, they would
Like,
still try
they
to
would still
contact her. Yes,
regardless.
they would. Absolutely. Yeah.
So we talked about how the scene with when Brendan Penny finally says it, like the kid is very understanding. It's like I already knew.
Yeah.
Like the day before,
Yes.
he has a conversation where he's like, "Hey, your buddy there, he's adopted. What do you think of that?" And he's like, kind of sad. Did he know then?
He did.
Okay.
He was processing.
So he's
In my
processing
opinion,
through.
He was.
Yeah,
He was just
it was.
processing.
But it was just an interest. Like thinking back to that scene.
That's right.
It's an interesting scene for the next day him to be like, "Yeah, I know."
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
those responses
Yes.
were very interesting. I just want to know how long, or did he just hear the conversation just outside the door before he came in there? Is that the conversation he heard? I don't know.
Yeah.
Dano?
Yeah. This guy is going to accept an assistant ski coach job that he says has great pay, great benefits, and housing included. That's it. That's what the Hallmark. I need to know where. I need to know, like, comparatively to what you have now. I've seen where you live right now. You know everyone in town, and he talks about this job like it's gonna, like, maybe I just don't understand how what I assume is college skiing works. An assistant ski, not a head coach, an assistant ski coach is gonna be getting all of that. Like, where? How much are we talking?
With his knowledge of wax,
Yeah, I mean,
Pretty
kind of hard to,
valuable.
yeah, for sure.
He knows
And
a lot.
Look, I know that private ski lessons probably cost a fortune, but this is an assistant ski coaching job. This is not a club pro situation. And so I was just kind of like, this seems like the least, it seems like what you and I are going for, Brand, the least amount of work for the most amount of not hustling.
Imagine if this job paid for our mortgage too. It's just like the
Oh
business
my
comes,
God, yeah.
where everything's paid for.
Yeah, if
and
the
all you got
business
to
just
do
took
is
the mortgage and the car payments. We'd be
That's
set.
hustle. That is
That's
tough.
hustle.
That's
right
hustle.
That's what I'm talking about.
There. Yeah.
What we did, everybody, some miscommunication, some frustrations
yeah.
bubbling up. Did it lead to any fights? I don't know. Vic Webster does. It's time for a fighting chance with Vic Webster.
Fighting chance with Vic Webster. A fighting chance with Vic Webster. Was the fighting in the movie? Did someone get hurt? It's a fighting chance with Vic Webster. A fighting chance with Vic Webster. A fighting chance with Vic Webster. Vic Webster.
You guessed it, whole lot of nada.
A fighting chance with Vic Webster. Vic Webster.
I gotta be honest. I know Vic looks good in the workout clothes, but this guy, he was all like he was
Cleans up nice.
Oh boy,
Yeah.
Yep.
that guy.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Not
I wonder if he's gonna look like that the rest of the season.
Ooh.
Only one way to find out. Another episode starts right now. What's that movie, Aaron? The next one? Letters to Santa.
Or that was the one you just listened
Or-
to.
Who can
Yeah.
say? I don't know how
Not
you
us.
live your life. Until then, maybe the first to wish you a Merry Christmas.
Deck the Hallmark's a Bramble Jam podcast is produced by Aaron Shea. For more information on Deck the Hallmark, you can go to deckthehallmark.com. For more information on the Deck the Hallmark family, you can go to bramblejamplus.com. Deck the Hallmark is presented by Philo TV. For a free trial of Philo, go to philo.tv/DTH.